What's going on, guys? If you're like me and don't want to spend $600 to $1,000 changing out your AC compressor for your Acura TSX or Honda Accord, I'll go ahead and show you guys how to change that out today. To start off, we're going to go ahead and disconnect the battery, just because, you know, whenever you're going to be unplugging things, you don't want to mess up with the power. As you know, we're going to have to go ahead and disconnect those clips. So a few ways of going about changing the compressor. Since it is somewhere down there in that area, it's a little dark, but you could go about taking off the alternator, but I'm actually going to go ahead and go through the fan, just because I've seen videos. It does have enough clearance, so you can see it's right about there. So let's go ahead and take off those bolts. For you to go ahead and take off these bolts, it's going to be a little small 10mm. Just go ahead and take it off, that way, you know, better safe than sorry. Then we can go ahead on taking on these bolts. Should be one right here, this one right here. I also see that if you do move this reservoir to the side, it also gives you a little bit more wiggle room. So it's gonna be that one right there as well, just the front one, and that one for the reservoir, and then this one right here, one right here. Let's go ahead and take them off. So now that we went ahead and took off these bolts, everything's pretty much loose. You can take this off. Just gotta go ahead and take off these couple switches. I'm pretty sure it's just this one, and should be one more around there or down there. I'll go ahead and try to see if I can get an angle for you guys. But just if anything, you know, watch this video for reference if you need to. That way you don't accidentally not connect the right thing back. But let's go ahead and take these out. I went ahead and disconnected the first one. You can just go ahead and like slide it out of this little cubby, and then you can just turn it, disconnect it. Gotta press that little tab down. For this other one that I was talking about, it's a little bit hidden, but you can see right there, dirty ass plug. That's the other one that you got to plug out. So let me go ahead and try to pull this thing out. Let's get it out, and then this thing should be able to maneuver its way, be on the side, and then we'll have enough clearance to start unbolting it. And just like that, we got this thing out. Got the fan out as well. Now this other plug that I was saying, that is for the actual condenser itself. So you can see it's right there. Also, I forgot to say, before you actually take off these AC lines, you got to make sure you take it to a shop and get all the refrigerant or whatever you want to call it, the pressure vacuumed out. For me, it costed around $100. It could be cheaper in other states. I live in California, so things are a little bit more expensive here. But like I said, do not forget to vacuum out the pressure at a shop, or if you have the equipment yourself, do it properly, or else you could risk hurting yourself and damaging your vehicle. But there's those two dabs right there for the actual lines, and then there should be two on the sides. It's hard to see. One right there on the right, and then another one on the left right there, and then there's gonna be two other ones on the bottom. I'll go ahead and take these off, and then I'll go ahead and show you guys the ones on the bottom. So I went ahead and loosened those bolts. So these are the vacuum lines. As you can see, they're filthy. So go ahead and give those a quick wipe. You know, you don't want to get any of that debris inside the lines, just because, you know, it'll cause a clog, or you don't want any other separate issues that you can avoid. So go ahead and give it a quick wipe. If your guys is this bad, but this car's pretty old. It's the first time I'm changing something out on it. So let's get back to it. So I've been here for a few minutes trying to figure out, because there's not enough clearance to do the tensioner. So, you know, most people get like a jack bar or whatnot, whatever. I don't have one of those. So I got one of these, 14mm. Here we go. One of these. Make sure you're all the way in the, you know, pushed up, so that way, if in case it does try to slip, it's kind of locked in there, you know, and it's gripped on good. So, you know, and just go ahead and put it there. Go ahead and pull it back. Just be careful. All right, so I had to go find another bag with my tools, just because I needed to find something that would fit in between there for that. Went ahead and used that little ratchet, this little like extension bar with that, just like a little bit of leverage. Went ahead and take off those two bolts. As I mentioned earlier, it's a little blurry right now. There are some more bolts right there, another one on the right, and the one somewhere right there on the left. Go ahead and take those off, and then I'll go ahead and show you guys the bottom angle. So I went ahead and covered up the lines, just because, like I said, you don't want to get anything in there. But as you can see, now that I have moved those those 2 bolts. There's one right there covered in a bunch of dirt, and then should be the other one right there. Go ahead and remove those, and we'll go back to the bottom. All right, so we're under the car. That's one of the bolts right there. I'll try to see if I can get a good angle of the other one. That's the bottom side of the other. All right, everyone, so the most difficult part, getting these last 2 bolts on the bottom. Look at that, all old. This thing was honestly clanking. It actually caused the car to stall out just because my girlfriend accidentally turned it on, but that's why we ended up finding out that that's the issue. This is the new one. As you can see, if you go ahead and read through the manual, it says if it has a yellow tag, you might have to drain it and fill it with some other oil. But if it has this pink tag on it, it should already be filled with that amount of oil, of the PAG oil that it needs. I was looking a little bit at the forums just to kind of clarify for everybody. If you're only changing this piece, it should be okay to go ahead and replace like this. I believe it's 3 to 3.5 ounces. But if you're changing the entire system, that's gonna have to be, I believe, a total of 10 or 19. But you can go ahead and look at the owner manuals or go ahead and look them up online. But let's go ahead and install this thing, get the new serpentine belts in, and then get her started. All right, so after a long time of having a headache, this is finally out. Got these bolts back in. And as I said, if yours does come with a pink tag, or make sure to read your manual to make sure that your compressor or your system has the correct amount of PAG oil before you run it. This one did say it had the 3 ounces, which is about 3 ounces or 3.5 ounces is what this needs when you're just changing this specific part. But when you're changing every single component and the oil is drained out, you will have to refill it with a lot more. So just keep that in mind. If not, double check the forums or look online for your specific vehicle make and model. But this is specifically for the Acura TSX. So let's go ahead and I connected one of those wires there. We gotta get the fan back on here. Then we do have a couple other bolts, and then just put the serpentine belt and we should be good to go. And just in case, these should be included in your AC compressor swap. If not, go ahead and buy some. They're a couple cents or $1, just so that way you can go ahead and change these O-rings out. Go ahead and focus it here. Change this O-ring, as well as for the other one that's down here, right there. That way it can create a better seal and you won't have any leaks or issues later on if it ends up, rotting or going bad.